welcome to the Side of Sauce podcast, a podcast I don't have a funny quip for at the moment. But, as always, I am your host, James. And today I'm joined by two guests, if you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
I'm William.
David.
Yeah, so these are pretty good friends of mine. We like to talk comics and comic books alike. But today we're going to talk about something very important because it just came out recently. And by recently, I mean last month. We're talking about the Snyder Cut. So, what did you guys think of the new Justice League Snyder Cut?
I, as a person who does not like Zack Snyder's work, was thoroughly impressed.
I think I can agree to that. It's not.
I didn't enjoy Watchmen, Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, but the Snyder Cut, I feel like he brought something different to it, and I don't really know what it is. I
Mhm.
just think the characters worked a lot better in this movie than they did in his other movies.
Yeah.
Quote Anton Ego from Ratatouille. What that missing element is perspective. So you see, Watchmen is tough to watch because it's really good, but it's good in really terrible ways.
What does that mean?
Like Jeffrey D. Morgan's character, it watches like a comic book, and that's not how movies are supposed to go.
yeah.
Movies have to have a different kind of nuance to them. And I feel like you see Watchmen's failures when you look at Zack Snyder's later work. Like you
Mhm.
see, because like you already see like in Batman v Superman, you see problems fixed in Henry Cavill's character in Superman that he faced in Man of Steel. Like I feel like that's why it starts off with Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne saving a little girl.
Yeah.
Like because to tell Man of Steel, to tell Superman as an immigrant story, to tell it more real, you have to focus more on that human aspect,
I think
which
that
you kind
was.
of missed in Man of Steel.
I think that was super cool. Of the. That's one of the only things I'll give Man of Steel. Is I think that's really cool that he kind of like in interviews he was like, yeah, I try to come at this like as a more realistically, like so I take Superman and I try to make him like an immigrant. I thought that was actually like a really cool way that I didn't even think of at the time. And then like at the time, I think I was like 13.
Really, really
But like
dope.
still really cool. Like a new and interesting way that like hadn't been done on film before.
Hmm.
I don't know.
But
I
but the rest of
Henry
Man of Steel I
Cavill's a
can't. I
fantastic
can,
Superman.
yeah.
Always will be, always has been,
Agreed.
But I think the way Zach looks at these characters, he I can confirm this. He doesn't understand the Watchmen because he said he liked the comic because it had sex and violence. Um but I don't think he understands. I get that he wants to show the human part of the characters and like how it'd be in realism and stuff like that. I don't think he fully understands it though. Like the whole forced imagery of comparing like Superman to God and shit like that.
Yeah.
It, I don't know. It wasn't very tasteful, I guess.
I think that's super lazy when you just compare Superman to God. But like
I agree. That's kind of my least favorite part of both Whedon's take and Snyder's take is that Superman's really just the fix-all solution, and I
Yeah.
really, really hate looking at the
that's even like
fix-all
a thing in
solutions.
comics where it's like if they ever need like a solution done that's like on a grand cosmic scale for like the Justice League, it's really lazy and easy to just say, well, Superman's really strong if he gets in the sun. So you can just punch it really hard.
Right. Like
And I kind of,
especially
yeah.
I loved seeing Martian Manhunter. Spoilers for
Oh yeah. Spoilers for
Justice
Justice
League.
League. If you haven't seen the movie,
Hey, if they're
go,
watching this, they already seen.
yeah, but like if you haven't, go watch it, or I'm gonna come to your house and I'm gonna drown
Like
you.
Martian Manhunter exceeds Superman's power in every aspect, and unfortunately, you kind of wasted this character in a movie where you were trying not to waste characters, and
I
I feel like he's the only wasted
I feel
character.
I
like
could I could understand introducing him in a Justice League sequel,
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but introducing him in the Justice League movie just brings up points of why wasn't he there versus Man of Steel?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why wasn't he there in the beginning of Justice League? And
Yeah.
he said like, "Oh, I realize I have attachment to this world." That's bull. It's so stupid.
It's like that scene in Venom where they hit the top of the rooftop and he's like, "You know what? I like this world." And then he just becomes a good guy for the rest of the
Yeah.
movie. Martian Manhunter had such an awkward like introduction though. When he was talking to Lois and then he just like turns and then he like walks out as Clark's mom.
No,
And he,
that although I like the movie, that whole part right there was so weird. Why was that necessary in any way?
I feel like
Why was Martian Manhunter interested in Lois? Why did he
That's what I'm
go
saying.
I know, right? She's like the most
explain
uninteresting character in that
everything?
movie. I don't know if that's a hot take, but
Like
I'm pretty sure it's not. Lois Lane is like super
Also,
boring
kind
in
of
all this
weird to
movie.
impersonate Clark's mom.
right? Who just like what kind of
Martian
responsibility
Manhunter's
just
into
walks around
MILFs?
and just like
Does he just
I want to be Southern Mama Martha.
does he know Clark's mom is does he know Clark is Superman?
Right. How much does Martian Manhunter know in this universe? He's so wasted as a character.
No, because from my imagination, I just imagine he didn't know Clark was Superman. And he just decided to be his mom one day just to go fuck around. And he's like, oh, my bad.
Oops.
Look what I've started.
I can't believe it. Zack Snyder really confirmed that Martian Manhunter is into MILFs.
After
What a brave new
seeing the
take.
wasted potential of Martian Manhunter, I am glad that they didn't introduce Green Lantern
Was
like
it?
he wanted to.
Yeah, he wanted to introduce Green Lantern. Was that supposed to be the spot of Martian Manhunter, or am I don't know. Or was he like another, also supposed to be there too?
It was supposed to be also another character.
Okay. Was it supposed to be Hal
Like
Jordan's Green Lantern?
he wanted to have John Stewart.
Okay.
I think he also wanted to have Ryan Reynolds come back as Green Lantern, which
Oh
is
my
stupid.
goodness. Uh, Even if he had a good script, I don't even think Ryan Reynolds would do it just for the funny,
I was
just to
about to
trash on it
say
more.
because if it was a John Stewart story, then it would have been Ryan Reynolds as Hal Jordan dying. I feel
Yeah,
like Ryan
Hmm.
Reynolds would have been all over that to do it well.
yeah,
Like, because I mean, he literally pokes fun of the first Deadpool appearance in the best Deadpool appearance.
yeah.
You can only hope that the same bravado would be brought to the table.
Yeah, but I think he wanted to make the Green Lantern movie like canon to the DCEU.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because
Well,
of
that would be
how
silly
uniquely
because then you
bad
would
that
want
movie
him to
is.
be cast as Nathan.
I, don't-
What?
I
I
said,
said that would be silly because I would want him to be recast as Nathan.
Yeah.
dude,
What'd you say,
yo,
Jordan?
can Jon Stewart be cast as Mario Judah for the new Green Lantern? That's my dream cast right there.
Oh,
I could see that.
I trying
But
to think of his name. Why did I forget it? Idris Elba. I've seen him cast as John Stewart a lot, and I've seen. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look him up.
I don't know, but like on the for real note, I don't know who I'd want as Jon Stewart. I couldn't even think of someone I want as Hal Jordan.
What was that? I missed the last part dropped off.
I don't even know who I'd want as Hal Jordan because I'm trying to like think.
Man, I have no idea. Truthfully, I
Yeah.
think Ryan Reynolds had a lot of potential to be Hal Jordan that got wasted.
Hmm.
Um,
Nathan
but
Fillion is always my dream green.
oh, that would be good. You're right.
He's done the voice so many times that it's like I
Yeah.
still want to see
Yeah,
Kevin Conroy play old Bruce Wayne in a live action Batman Beyond.
that'd be cool. I think the
Well, technically, he did play Old Man Bruce Wayne in the CW shows for like a few minutes.
We don't give a shit about.
we don't care about the CW shows. What CW shows do they have still? They have The Flash, right? Like that's still a
It's
thing.
so weird. It makes me mad.
Hey, to segue back to Zack Snyder's Justice League, the fact that Ezra's Flash and Grant's Flash met is pretty swag.
It was pretty
It was
cool.
actually
It was
pretty
so
wild. I didn't
good.
watch the episode, but I thought that was cool because I'm not gonna pay to watch the CW show. I'm sorry.
I you know, people get mad at those shows a lot. I have a little soft place in my heart for them.
Because look at how many CW shows they have now. They have Flash, Arrow, uh,
Flash, Arrow, Supergirl,
yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow, Batwoman,
Don't
uh,
uh the Titans isn't that part of it now?
Oh, the Titans. Is that?
no, I don't. I think they had some like sort of like crossover almost thing happen, but I don't think it's part of it.
Because
Dude, I
they're
never saw that show,
really
Titans.
set on doing other world stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They do have like a new multiverse that was born.
hmm I
Yeah,
think
I'm
that
not sure.
They
I
lost my respect when they turned Oliver Queen into Bruce Wayne.
yeah.
Like as a character,
They
he
lost my
took
respect
away
when I
a lot of
saw.
what Oliver Queen brought to the table in terms of heart, character, and like just levity,
hmm
and turned him into Bruce Wayne. And I feel like I would have preferred Batman.
Yeah. They lost my respect when I saw the Titans trailer and I saw Robin step on someone's neck and go "fuck Batman."
That shit makes me cringe.
That
It's
that was
I
like
wanna like Titans so bad.
it looks like it's
The
just hard to
costumes in the
watch.
show.
I was about to say that the best thing about those shows is like how they look.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part about watching them is that it's like the new Star Wars for me. It's fun to look at, but it hurts me inside.
I think the
I
only
don't want
one
to
that hurt.
start that argument. I
That's
love the new movies.
Yeah, I was about to.
Hey, I don't
was
want to hear it from the man that likes Jared Leto's Joker.
uh,
Hey,
that's
look, man.
crazy.
They retconned the tattoos and the grill, and he looks and sounds fine.
He looks like a kid with ravioli around his mouth.
Look, man, I agree that it's forced, but like Jared Leto is not my favorite Joker performance, but like he's not even like a step towards Jack Nicholson.
You know what?
So
He's my least favorite Joker because he didn't say the line from the trailer about society.
Oh my god, dude.
He really did say in the
No.
trailer, "We live in a society."
Jared Leto's Joker's little segment in the Justice League movie was so weird. I didn't like it.
Dude, I like thought about that like 5 minutes before it happened at the end of the movie, and I was thinking
So
about it.
did I. I was like, wait, wasn't he supposed to be in
And I
this?
was like, did I not watch this movie? I thought he was supposed to be in here.
And the whole thing was like, why does Zach want Harley and Dick Grayson to be dead so bad?
I have no
Like,
idea.
what does that act?
So what I'm more curious, like he wants so many weird relationships out of the DC universe. Like
Yeah,
I was kind of happy that he didn't get his Justice League trilogy, but then after seeing the Snyder cut, it makes me want to have seen it. Simply because like he wanted Bruce and Lois to get together
Yeah, that's
and
super
like
weird.
why?
yeah.
Like, okay, so he,
No, did you guys hear about his synopsis for all three Justice League movies?
yeah,
I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I did read it while I
I
was
did read it. I
preparing
don't
for
know if I
this.
remember every detail about it, but like, I think I get it. But
So
like,
part of it, Lois was
why?
supposed to be pregnant with Bruce's baby.
Yeah, and then that baby was supposed to be
Um,
born and supposed to take down Superman, right? Like, I remember that being a thing. That was that was so crazy. That was wild. I I think I would have mentally like exploded if I saw that. Just out of sheer what?
I know the Riddler. The Riddler was supposed to find the anti-life equation and then off himself.
I don't know why that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny.
Also, can we talk about the fact Lex Luthor acts more like the Riddler than Lex Luthor?
He acts,
Okay,
yeah, he
there.
does. Like I've never,
I really like Lex Luthor.
like,
In
in
these movies?
Yes, I really, really like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor.
I think Jesse Eisenberg could be a good Lex Luthor.
You
I
don't.
don't think he
That's
is a good Lex Luthor.
that's
I think he looks weird when he's
that's
bald.
really tough. I really
But yeah,
enjoy it. I like his like.
I think
He's
he's a
very
good at
pointed.
what he did, like what he was going for. Like I saw what he was trying to do. I just don't think it's Lex Luthor though. I think he would have been well
Yeah,
off if it was just some
I
other
don't think
character.
his performance stands out, but not in a way that it's meant to. Like I wasn't watching this going, "Wow, this is great." The way he's performing is amazing. I was watching going like, "Why is this character in this universe? It doesn't fit."
I was just more confused. Like this is supposed to be Lex Luthor. Like
Yeah,
I was intrigued to see the take on Lex Luthor
yeah,
because Lex
yeah
Luthor's been a man child in his like later years. In a couple of, it's been like more realized in a couple of the like Warner Brothers animation films, like
yeah.
DC animated
hmm
films, but like I never hated seeing him kind of childish, you
yeah.
know? Him being upset with Superman is a childish thing.
So
It
it
never
makes
really made
sense.
sense to me
I
at the
don't
time why Lex Luthor
I'm
was.
disappointed we didn't get the iconic
Mhm.
scene of him stealing 40 cakes.
see the way I see it is I don't mind him being childish, but there's a difference between him being like a little man baby and
hmm
just being weird.
Yeah.
Like the whole like Granny's peach tea
I knew
subplot
you were
going
gonna
on.
bring that up.
The he popped a Jolly Rancher in that guy's mouth. What the hell, dude?
Notice that's all still before his first like downfall with the bat. Like I love the transition that Jesse brings to the character. Like he makes him very different after he's in prison.
I think no matter how well people think that Lex Luthor is though, I think it's just bogged down by just the fact that he's in Batman v Superman. Because that movie is just so bad that it just literally bogs down
Yeah,
everything in that movie, no matter how good or bad it originally was. Because his whole plan in
I,
that
I
movie is so dumb. Because he
yeah,
wants, because so,
Lex
yeah,
was not necessary for that movie.
I feel like you could have literally just carried the movie on the fact that Batman saw Superman killing people, and he's like, okay, I want to stop that,
Yeah,
and
you
then
100% could.
I
uh,
agree,
the
and
only
that's
difference would have been that there would be no reason for Doomsday to be in that movie, essentially. But even then,
And he shouldn't have
please,
been, so it would have been better.
yeah, exactly.
exactly. Batman v Superman shouldn't have been a big setup towards anything. Like honestly, I wondered even about Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman's appearance. Like it didn't exactly fit.
Yeah, I did.
I think I would have been fine with it if they would have just teased like, "Hey, this is Diana. She's doing things. She's in this universe."
This is an interest. Like
Little nod.
I feel guilty for having this opinion, but I feel like if the studios hadn't have fucked with these movies, then
I feel
everybody
like
would
if
have been
yeah,
fine with it. I
I
feel like
really,
everybody would have been upset as the movies came out,
I would
but I
almost
feel
want to
like it would
say,
have ended up
I would almost want
like
to
the way
see
they wanted it to,
Zack
and
Snyder's
then to have
version.
eventually been happy with the final product.
I I watched the ultimate cut before I watched the original. I didn't even go see the original. I was like, this looks like garbage. Um,
I saw the original. I haven't
but
seen the ultimate cut.
I watched ultimate cut, and after watching that and then watching the original, it doesn't add anything.
I know it literally.
It just makes the movie longer.
I
I
know there's a side
agree.
plot with Lois Lane, and I know it shows Ben Affleck's ass, and that's all I know about it.
Okay, that is a good part it adds. My bad.
Ah, dang. That shot up from a 3 out of 10 to a 11 out of 10.
Hey, that's our king, Zack Snyder. Joss Whedon, he forces shots at Wonder Woman's ass. Zack,
Listen,
no.
I feel like
Batman.
I want to say this real quick. Is like Joss Whedon has like the stuff that has come up about that Justice League movie and how everything went down. He's such a piece of shit.
Yeah, like
Like,
have you seen the thing about the scene where Ezra like falls into her boobs?
I was about
yeah,
to bring that up. It doesn't make sense.
Did you read about what Gal did about it though?
No.
Gal refused to even do that scene. That's why Wonder Woman's facing the opposite way. That's not Gal.
yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. I don't blame her one bit. That's
Like,
disgusting.
It really
stupid
is. Like,
scene.
and like it
Like,
doesn't
Also,
two
literally adds nothing. It's
strong
not funny at all.
heroes, like your leading characters, look idiotic.
yeah, and also the weird sexualness of it was stupid and
Hmm.
unnecessary. Like I can do with the like, oh, he's like a little flirty with Wonder Woman cuz that's fair. Flash has been a flirty character,
Hmm.
but that
That's
was gross.
just
Sexism is sexism, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
yeah. Have you heard of?
Also the treatment of Ray Fisher.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say
Dude,
that. I feel so bad for that man. He deserves so much better than what
I've
Joss
Yeah, and
Whedon did
the
to
fact
him.
he got taken out of the Flashpoint movie makes me mad.
Yeah, that's so. Mhm. Joss Whedon's terrible. I'm glad he doesn't get to make his movie anymore. That's it. That's all I want to say about him. What a piece of shit.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, but
And I'm glad that everybody agrees that Zack Snyder's Justice League is better than his.
yeah,
like the audacity to just think you could come to the DCEU and make Avengers.
Yeah.
yeah,
You could just take somebody's work and then say, no.
And it wasn't even like I don't know what the hell happened because I like the Avengers movies he directed.
yeah. Like Avengers is a
Like
fun movie. Age of Ultron is like not as good, but like it's still not a terrible time.
I think it's still all right. I
Yeah,
I get there's issues with it, but I think it's all right as a whole.
but like
There's a lot of problems I
just
have with the
jumping from
DCU,
Age
but
of
we'll get there.
Ultron
Yeah.
to the to the old Justice League now, like holy shit, that is like such a massive downgrade. I don't
Yeah.
know what happened between 2015 and 2017,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I do like the some of the other movies in the DCU, like Shazam.
yeah,
I don't know if the new Suicide Squad is going to be technically part of that. Like, I know it's got some of the same cast.
That's really confusing to me. So, it, he hasn't made it clear whether or not it's a sequel. He said that it's in the same universe, but it's not clear whether or not it's a reboot.
hmm,
I assume it's going to be a reboot.
I
yeah,
kind of hope it isn't, just because. I mean, okay, I just want them to retcon things,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
they
My
did with Jared Leto. I think that that's fine. I think that Snyder. I think that the reason that Jared Leto's in Justice League the way he is was partially because Snyder wanted to tell the studios that it's okay to retcon shit when it's bad.
yeah,
see, here's the thing. Here's my opinion on the Suicide Squad movie coming out, okay?
Okay.
I from a fan standpoint, I'm like, dude, retcon the entire first movie. Who cares? The movie's ass.
Pretty bad.
exactly.
But from a looking at the studio standpoint, I don't want this to open up a whole thing where a movie does kind of bad and they just like, oh, well, that didn't happen. We'll just throw it off the edge.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's how you end up with X-Men.
Yeah.
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 I'm actually kind of really excited for this new Suicide Squad, only because the original was so bad that it can't get worse. I hope, and the fact that James
And
Gunn is
I
directing it.
trust James Gunn with my
Yeah,
whole heart.
after
Mm,
seeing what he's done with
I'm ex-
not Suicide Squad, what he's done with Guardians of the Galaxy, like
oh yeah.
that is, and now he's getting that, but like on a uh like less restraints, I would say. I think it would. I'm going to assume that he would have less
Everybody
restraints.
everybody
Yeah.
says, look at what he's done with Guardians of the Galaxy. No, look what he's done with Scooby Doo.
Oh my god. Have you heard the original ideas he had for that Scooby Doo movie? Like the first one?
Yes, and I beg that they were real. I wish.
Oh, release the
Oh, I
James Gunn
want that
cut,
cut.
please. Everybody, stop asking for the Snyderverse to be restored. Start asking for the James Gunn verse, please.
That's another thing that comes up. The annoying begging fanboys at a constant.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
they are
Bring the
so
Snyderverse
bad.
back. The Snyderverse is superior.
Listen,
Like,
listen.
oh
I
my
like the
god.
Snyder cut.
Calm
I think
down.
it's actually a pretty solid movie. Like my opinions has
That
changed from the first time I watched it. But
that
the people
is
who
that is like one of my only gripes with the Justice League movie, like as a movie,
Mhm,
is I wish it happened because Zack Snyder was like, I'm making this happen. But
mhm.
it happened because fanboys whined until the studio was like, okay, fine.
I
Mhm.
mean, to a certain extent. I mean, he wanted his movie finished. Like he got his.
No, I know
Yeah.
he wanted his movie. I just if the fanboys wouldn't have whined like they did, it wouldn't have happened.
Mhm.
Which like I'm glad we got it. I think it's very important that he got to finish his work.
I think it's
But
really impressive
the
at
way
all.
that the fanboys did it,
The
not
fact that he
good.
even got his
Not
movie released
good.
like at
Yeah,
all
but you're
is
always gonna
so
have
cool.
people who send like hundreds of peanuts in when a TV show gets canceled, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
just bad people.
Just
Yeah.
is like the big bar that all superhero movies have to stand up to is like kind of weird
Bad
because like
people.
this is a good movie, but it's like it's not blow your mind good.
Yeah.
And if it blows your mind, that's fine, but
But like
it's just a movie.
I know.
Can we talk about how superhero movies and the more modern superhero games even have bred the most whiniest fan base ever?
Dude, yes. The people who like have been
It
like
breeds things to argue about
the
too
people who
often.
like have been sending
Yeah,
Wyatt Russell
like I
death
know this is
threats.
completely off topic,
Yeah.
but the whole thing of fans whining about the Sam Raimi suit and the Mark Webb suit in the PS4 Spider-Man game until they got it.
Mm-hmm. That was like
Ridiculous.
oof. Ooh.
It was gross.
Yeah. And people who were sending death threats to Wyatt Russell because he plays a good character who's really hateable. Like, what?
Yeah. Okay. I did see a thing that he never actually had an Instagram account. The account that everybody thought was his that got banned was actually a fan account.
But even then, I can like look on Twitter and I can be like, why are people directing the hate at the actor? He's just doing a good job.
Yeah. You got to be like mentally ill for that.
Okay, and it
Coming after like video game developers, directors, producers, actors, like that's insane. Like you actually need to go see a doctor because
it's
that's
not
not
that
this person's
serious.
fault. These people are working, they're making a living, they're trying to build a career and entertain people.
Like
They're
Yeah.
not
if you want your vision
evil.
so bad for something, like go ahead and do it. Like go make a movie. Go go make a video game. Stop demanding other
Um,
people to like make it for you.
have you seen all the forums that are like I wouldn't even say they're coming to light because they weren't really hidden, I guess.
Mhm.
But there's a bunch of forums of people like, oh, boycott Matt Reeves Batman because this is how WB is trying to like fuck with us and take back what they did with Snyder and all that.
Oh my god.
No, I haven't seen any of that. I've been very loosely following the Batman because I want it to be very, very good and I really want to see it.
I think the best way to
Yeah,
experience that movie is going to be going in as blind as possible. So I just saw the first trailer, and I think that's probably all I'm going to see. To be honest,
And desperate for it.
that movie is going to be that movie's going to be super interesting. Even if it's not good, it's going to be super interesting at the very least. It's going to be
Exactly. Like I just want to see what it does
Hmm.
because I'm super excited. Like I'm really excited for a lot of the upcoming DCEU movies. Like I'm really excited to see what Flashpoint does. I'm really excited to see what follows with or what's gonna follow after Birds of Prey. Have you guys seen Birds of Prey?
I have not.
I
It's
actually have,
it.
yeah.
What did you think, James?
I it's a pretty okay movie. Like I don't think it's that
I
bad.
thought
I don't think it's as good as some people say. The minority that say it's like really good, but I definitely do not think it's as bad as like the majority of people say. I think
think it
yeah.
has a lot going for it. I really enjoyed
I just think
Ewan
people don't believe
McGregor.
in like Harley
I
Quinn
really
to
enjoyed
carry a
the
movie.
strong female cast.
Hmm.
I love Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
It is,
I do
yeah.
too. I actually really like her
I
Harley Quinn.
hate
I think she does a fantastic job.
I hate watching wonderful female actresses get over sexualized, and unfortunately, that happens a lot in
Yeah,
Yeah.
DC movies.
unfortunately.
I to be honest, I was excited for the movie for Black Canary,
Hmm.
and then I heard that she only uses her powers for like a second, and I was like, okay, I'm not excited anymore.
I mean, that's fair, but a lot. So that's I brought this up a second ago with like where the universes are set. Like
Yeah.
Hmm.
Bruce Wayne's old, man. Like he's been fighting crime for 20 years in Justice League. Like this is a Dark Knight Returns Batman who's like lost Robins and is not all here. It's
Yeah.
kind of a
Hmm.
tough place to be putting him at this like the focal point of the Justice League.
Yeah.
And I hate that because I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Ben Affleck is too awesome of a Batman for
I
me.
do think he's a fantastic
He is
Batman.
a
He's my
very
favorite on
underrated
screen
Batman.
Batman.
Honestly, probably same.
Like I've
If
I've
if he had,
so
I think if
like
he,
in Batman v Superman when he comes onto the screen and the Danny Elfman score plays
Mhm.
subtly in the background, it made me happy in a
hmm
way I can't describe.
I will say Batman's my favorite or best my favorite Batman. My favorite Bruce Wayne, oddly enough, is the kid in Gotham.
Really? I
Yeah, I
really like
really
Bruce
like
Wayne
his Bruce
too,
Wayne.
but he still seems a little whiny for me.
Yeah.
But
jeez.
Bruce Wayne's also pretty mentally ill.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the shitty takes of people being like, Batman is the real villain. He has millions of dollars and all he does is beat up poor people. It's like, um,
Oh my
It's a
goodness.
take.
That's
hey,
that
if he
is
wasn't Batman, there wouldn't be a story. That's the whole point.
that is a
Honestly, like they touch on that a lot with his villains, especially with Batman, simply because he's a man and his
Also,
presence brings like assholes like Two-Face and the Riddler to life.
he funded all of Arkham Asylum. Like, they act like he just beats him up and leaves him on the street.
Right. And arguably, and so yeah, Arkham keeps letting out, prisoners, but like you see corruption everywhere you go, and it's not always because of where the money comes from. Like
Yeah.
FEMA became corrupt, and FEMA started as entirely the good guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it happens everywhere you go. People put on guises to be your friend, and then all of a sudden those priorities change. Like
Jeez.
the only difference is that the comics have painted Wayne Tech as the billionaire trust fund that keeps their word and keeps the R&D department going and fires all the people who really make the company a money grubbing horrible business.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
Like that's
do.
like
Bruce Wayne is like one of the few billionaires who are like, yeah, he's a good person in his heart.
right. Like
When I
that's
say
my
not all
favorite part of
billionaires, I just mean
Batman
Bruce Wayne
Begins is when
and
like
Tony
he
Stark.
walks into the office and just fires everybody.
Yeah.
And Lucius is just like, or no, yeah, it's from Lucius. He doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Gosh, those movies are okay.
That was the most sad
I think
okay
Bruce
ever.
Wayne, I think Batman in Zack Snyder's universe is fine, but I think that Bruce Wayne in Zack Snyder's universe is really underdeveloped.
Yeah, I would agree.
I feel like Alfred is more developed than Bruce is. Jeremy Irons was given more motivation
Yeah.
than, or for Alfred than Ben was for
I feel like
Bruce.
if they had better writers to keep his character intact, like it would be
Uh,
he left. But like I feel like if they had better writers for both Batman v Superman and Justice League, he could have been like the definitive on-screen Batman for like everyone, and nobody would argue because he's built for it too.
I
Ye-
agree. If,
It's the same
if the
deal that I
films were
have with
less
all that.
ambitious, they
Hmm.
could have done more with the
Yeah,
characters.
I think they really needed to slow down and stop trying because they 100% were trying to compete with the MCU.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
So they were
Oh
trying
yeah.
to build this universe as quick as possible. And I think if they would have slowed down and really developed the characters as a whole better instead of throwing them all together, it would have worked a lot better. And I think it would have gave Ben Affleck a better light on his role as Batman because he hates
Yeah,
that shit.
Honestly, it hurts me because he's my favorite on-screen Batman that he is so done with it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I can't even be mad at him. I get why.
Like if I had to suffer through the
It's
production of the original Justice League, I want to stop being Batman too. So
right, like, oh my goodness, for all these people to like be willing to stick, like for Henry Cavill to just be like, yeah, if they want me to put on the cape again, I'm there for that. Like, what
Henry
a
Cavill
trooper,
is so
Yeah, and they really threw
cool.
that man aside.
Yeah,
legitimately.
like
Which like I'm fine with because I'm not in love with Superman as a character or a
Me
plot
neither.
device, but
hmm
I love Henry Cavill's Superman. As
Yeah.
a side character, he belongs to be in the DCEU,
hmm
but
Yeah.
he doesn't need to be your fix all. There's a middle ground between having these characters, between having a Batman v Superman movie where it's Batman and Superman on screen together for the first time ever in film history, and that's monumental. And
hmm
also have it not be Gal Gadot and Lex Luthor and Doomsday, and it's unnecessary and too much and crowding, and we lose the pace, we lose the characters, we lose interest.
Henry Cavill could actually be
You
the
like when you're
perfect
dealing with
Superman. I feel like that. I feel like that for most of the DC movies. Like most of the casting is really good, but like they're just missing the writing.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Like if they had people who knew these characters inside and out, kind of like how Marvel does, like they could really have something really special in their hands. Because right now, the only character
Which
that
is
Also,
terrible because DC has superior characters.
well, I think that's pure opinion, but
It's an objective
um,
opinion, but
it's an objective opinion.
hold up. No, I think where they go wrong with both Superman slash Clark, and Batman slash Bruce Wayne's characterization
hmm
is they need to treat Batman and Bruce Wayne as two separate beings.
mm,
And because that's where the interest part comes in is when those beings have to clash and the worlds collide or whatever.
Yeah,
But they just kind of throw him in there and is like, yep, he's completely fine with being Batman. Yep, this is how he is. Like
I don't know how about
everything's
you.
perfect, rainbow and sunshine.
that's interesting
I don't know how
because
about you
that
guys feel
is
about
like
this,
one of my
but
favorite scenes of The Dark Knight was when he buys the hotel
hmm
Mm-hmm.
to swim with the girls in the lobby.
Yeah,
Like I really love that billionaire flex, and I
yeah,
loved seeing Henry Cavill's Superman be Clark Kent with Lois.
yeah,
Those scenes were always really down to earth and humanizing. They were very warm, and like I loved that part of Man of Steel. I loved that part of Batman v Superman, and I loved that part of Justice League.
I do. I like Clark Kent, not Superman. I like Clark Kent better in Batman vs Superman than I like him in Man of Steel.
Yeah,
I can see that.
In Man of Steel, he came off as very like, I don't want to do this, even
yeah.
though Superman's whole thing is like, I do this because I can and I want to.
Because he wants to protect the people of Earth, and I feel like that's something lost in these movies. I feel like they just lose the characterization for
Man of
Yeah,
most of them.
Steel changes that narrative a little bit, though, and I don't think it's for the worse. I feel like because they focus a lot on him being a foreigner, they leave a lot to his identity as Kal-El.
Hmm.
hmm
They leave a lot of identity from where his they put the father question really heavily in Man of Steel, and I feel like it's not a bad thing. I just feel like it's a very bold thing.
Yeah.
Um, because he literally struggles with who he wants to be his dad, and then has to figure out that it's okay for both of them to have given him wisdom
yeah.
because
Hmm.
he needs to be both
I,
Kal-El and Clark.
I really like that part. I love the questioning of like who do I belong to, where do I belong? But the whole thing with his what's his dad's name on Earth? Shit.
I don't even remember his name.
Um, Papa Clint. I don't know.
Papa Clint,
Um, his Papa Clint's death was the worst.
Uncle
It's
Uncle Ben
so
Clint.
stupid, extremely forced, and extremely unnecessary.
Yeah,
His death
it
is
was kinda Uncle
really
Ben.
really dumb.
Yeah.
That in
All
the
three
scene
of
with
these are the same stride.
that in the scene with the when he's like a kid and he saves that bus with full of like the kids and his dad's like,
Yeah.
why would you do that? And he's like, what was I supposed to do, Dad? Just
Like,
let them
bro,
die? And he's like, I don't know, maybe.
like you're supposed to let him die.
What?
It casts doubt on this human father with human ideals that because that's a very human ideal to look at a
It's a very human idea
larger
to look at a bus full of
cost
children
in terms
and
of
let them die.
personal security.
Yeah,
Like,
but I think when that comes up, you lose part of Superman's Boy Scout aspect. And a Boy Scout character can be annoying and like
As a Boy Scout,
unrelatable and not a good character. But that's who Superman is. And if you write him well, he can be really interesting as a Boy Scout.
I can confirm.
as a Boy Scout, you can't what?
As a Boy Scout, I can confirm.
Oh.
That's crazy.
Superman brings so much cringe when he does so many things for me. Uh, like just the fact, like the Fortress of Solitude, in and of itself, kind of
I think it's so weird and I think it's out of place.
like just because Batman has a bat cave, like this man's a vigilante and has to hide. He's doing illegal. Like you're an alien, Clark Kent. You have an office.
Yeah.
Does
Like
Superman
yes,
even need
Batman
the
has an
Fortress of
office. Bruce
Solitude?
Wayne has an office, but
What does
they
he
have
do in
to
the
exist
fortress?
separately.
Like, what does
Like,
he even do in the
do you
Fortress of
need time
Solitude?
away from Lois? Is what?
Also, can we talk about he has the speed capabilities? He definitely could have saved those people in the courthouse.
Uh,
uh, yes, actually, I think he probably could have.
I don't know if
Because
he could
he's
have saved
technically on the
all of them,
same, yeah, he's technically on the
but he
same
didn't even
league as,
try.
yeah, he's technically in the same speed range as Flash,
um,
and Flash probably
that
could.
I
Not.
that scene is interesting because of how he deals with it when he's
He just
like,
flies
because he
away.
feels really guilty about it. He agrees with you, William. Like the character in that world says, "I didn't see it because I wasn't looking for it,"
Yeah.
and that's tough because Superman isn't infallible. He's still because he's grown up human. He has human ideals. He's just like us, bound to make mistakes. He's
I
bound to
think
be
I
his
think
head's bound to be not in the right
yeah.
place at all the right time.
I
And
think that's what
that's
makes him super interesting because he's like just the general premise and idea of Superman. He's like he's basically God. Like he's basically invincible, but he's
but you
human.
Yeah.
can't hold him to the
Yeah,
same standard as God because
he's
he's
human. Yeah,
materialistic. He's corporeal.
he's lived
He's
his
not just
life
something that can be
as
created
like
and
one of
talked
us.
about.
He
He's
sees
something you
himself
can
as
look
one of
at.
us, and I think that's super cool.
And that's why Homelander is such an interesting parallel from Superman because it's
The
Homelander
Boys
is
is such a
Superman
good
but with
show.
like
Oh my
a
god.
baby's emotion.
hmm I think
Yeah,
whoever wrote
Homelander is one of the best comic book villains we've seen in a really long time.
he's one of the best
Speaking of,
on-screen comic book villains that we've seen in general. Probably even one
in
of like the
private,
best.
I
Probably in the top 5. I probably top 3. I will make that assertion right now. Top 3.
I think he'd be in my top 5. I really really love villain.
hmm I think if I had
So
to if I had to like sit down and think about it, Homelander would definitely be in my top 5. Thanos from Infinity War, specifically Infinity War, would be in my top 5. Heath Ledger's Joker would be my top 5.
Yeah.
I know these are like all generic, like, ooh, like yeah, obviously, but like
No, but they're generic for a reason because
yeah,
they're good.
cause
right,
like
classics become classics because of
I don't know if this is a hot take, but
quality.
like most comic book villains aren't, and most comic book movie villains aren't that great, especially
No, you're right.
because most of them are because most of the, like if you think about the most standard ones, which are the Marvel ones, you can't really think of many of them like off
Think
the top of your head that are meant like
Batroc the Leaper.
like like who was the if you asked like a person on the street right now and you walked up to them and like grabbed them by the throat and you're like, "Oh right, name the villain from the Hulk movie." They're going to look at you like you're crazy because nobody remembers that villain and you're holding them by the throat.
Police. That's wrong.
They're calling for help and you're just shaking them. "No. Wrong answer."
It's not the right answer. I won't let you leave until you get it correct.
Until you tell me what I want to know. But
Then
yeah,
you'll
then it's
get
like,
taken down by the police because you're holding people hostage.
"Sir, it was completely in my rights to hold that person hostage and ask him who the main villain of the Hulk movie was."
Oh, entirely justifiable.
Yeah,
Understandable. Have a nice day.
the cop looks at you and he says, "Ah, I see. I don't have my copy either. It's not on Disney Plus. It's not anywhere." Woo.
Cop looks at the person you're strangling. I
He's like,
see.
he
Who exactly
the
was it?
cop goes and strangles him as well. Who is it?
Just,
Who
he
is it?
joins in, takes out the Billy Club.
Who is it? Tell me who it is right now.
Answer the question.
But like, it's like that. Those 3: Homelander, Thanos from Infinity War, Heath Ledger's Joker. Uh, I think Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is pretty good. I like him a lot. Um, this is so hard because I have
That
to
was a
think of them.
really, really intriguing.
Okay, this might be a weird take. I think Loki is okay as a villain. I don't know if I put him in my top 5 though, but I'm struggling to think of anyone else. So he might just be there by default.
I like Loki a lot more as an anti-hero.
Yeah. I don't know how I think William said that he doesn't like Loki as a anti-hero, but I think he actually works pretty well as an anti-hero.
I just,
Yeah.
especially I feel like his Tom Hiddleston's portrayal of the character, I feel like
But I think
that's
the
a really
villain that
nice
was
portrayal.
robbed the most from being like one of the greats was definitely Ultron in Age of Ultron. He was like
I
he has like they just took him in the wrong direction, to be honest. Like Ultron should have been
yeah, I
like
would have loved to have seen him as a disciple of.
he should have been like a big hulking like intimidation. Like anytime he's on screen, you just feel the fear that he puts in the characters. Like he should not have talked nearly as much as he
Like
did.
his the beginning of Avengers, the
Mhm,
first one, Loki's performance in that, the way that they carry the gravity of him on screen for the
mhm,
beginning of that is really, really good. And they don't really do that again. They kill him off in Thor Dark World, and that's like poignant. Then
mhm.
they make it moot.
And then like he
And they do a
returns.
lot for Chris Hemsworth's Thor with Loki, but that's really using him as a tool.
I am so done with Loki as a character in the MCU. I don't even know if I'm gonna watch the entirety of that Loki show, to be honest with you, because he died and then he came back
I think I
and
will
then he died
because
and now he's
I
back again. I
I
don't know.
didn't think I was gonna be staying caught up with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I
I honestly didn't think I was gonna continue Soldier, but that's actually a really really good
it's
show.
too good.
That is like stupid good for what it should be. Like I was
I
expecting
fought
like
for
a yeah, I was honestly
the
just expecting
Homelander movie.
like a buddy cop movie of just
And
Bucky and Sam. But like no,
it's
it's so much more than that. And like I don't I wouldn't say I don't want to say Sam is one of the best characters in the MCU, but he might be.
he's one of my favorites. Like I
Yeah.
really enjoy Anthony Mackie's Falcon.
Yeah. Like Anthony Malky's Falcon was like he wasn't my favorite until the show only because like he just didn't get a whole lot of time to like do anything.
Yeah.
The most screen time he ever
Well,
had was I
I mean,
think
it's been really
yeah,
tough for black actors to make a difference and make a big appearance, big
yeah.
Marvel movies.
Unless your name is well, unless you were in Black Panther, I think it's really hard. But even then,
Fucking Cuba Gooding Jr. couldn't get paid the same as he did for the first movie,
mhm.
so they just recast.
I am I'm still so deeply saddened about Chadwick Boseman like dying because I heard about that like the midnight
Yeah.
that it happened, and I think I stood there and I was like just laying in bed in like a deep sadness. Like I think I can be for real on this show, and I can like say that like I did cry. I did cry when he died because that is such he did so.
I
I feel
remember
like even if you
when I
don't
found out
like
that Chadwick
like
Boseman
his
died,
movie, and if
or
you don't
sorry,
like his
the
character,
found out that Alan
yeah,
Rickman died, I
hmm
watched something
yeah,
of his like a day after he had passed, and then somebody been like, "Oh, so you're watching in commemoration, right? What do you mean?"
because I feel like if even if we're just talking about the scope of the MCU and not his other amazing projects that he's done, even though they are all equally, if not more so, valid, you can't deny like what he's done for minorities just by having Black Panther be as big a success as it was. I don't know. I think Black Panther is also a very important movie. Maybe maybe not everyone agrees with that, but I think that. I believe that. No matter what you think
I
of the
think
movie.
so.
Yeah,
I
no ma-
think that what happened to Cuba Gooding Jr. in the first Iron Man to the second Iron Man could have happened to
mhm.
um
But yeah,
Cyborg.
just but yeah.
I I I'm drawing a blank with the actor's name.
Oh, but that's also another good villain. I just thought about that. Killmonger is a really good villain. Not to derail what we were just
Oh
talking about.
yes, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger is really good. Like a lot more than I legitimately thought he
Michael
was
B.
gonna be.
Jordan, I really feel like has the potential to touch any role and turn it to gold.
Yeah, I mean he was in that Fantastic Four movie, but like whatever. We don't really talk about that. But
I didn't hate it.
I remember
I
seeing it as a
watched it
kid.
recently.
Yeah, I remember seeing it as a kid and like liking it. But I saw it like a couple years after that, and I was like, Oh, the
Wait,
Fantastic
which
Four,
Fantastic Four?
the new one, well, the most recent one that just came out.
With Miles Teller and
I think so.
I
Uh,
mean, yeah, that's the
yeah,
most.
that I feel like the Fantastic Four have
It's
just
just
been,
not.
yeah,
It's again a big problem with the writing. Like they
the fan.
just refuse to write characters correctly, and they're just counting on movies and
Hmm.
superheroes to like movies or superhero movies with big budgets to bring in money, and that's not how you make money. That's not how the MCU has made their money. Why the MCU movies are popular is the heart and dedication that's gone into those movies,
Hmm.
and that's why the Snyder cut is so good. Is because Snyder really cares about those characters
Yeah,
and
like
really gave a shit about that movie.
even if you don't like the
You
interpretations of the
can't just
characters, you can tell he cared. Eh,
right like you. It wasn't just $30 million thrown at a movie. It was another chance to fix what went wrong
Like
to
I
finish
personally don't
strong.
like some of the characters in that movie, but at least they feel like they all belong in the same movie, and they're all actually made by a person who cared and like gave a shit.
Right, they all feel authentic and grounded.
At least none of the characters are launching into Wonder Woman's boobies as a joke. I don't know.
Right, like
Super weird.
even the bank robbers or the people who are gonna blow up the bank
Hmm.
that Wonder Woman saves, like they have a motivation. They're trying to like scare the world into listening to whatever screwed up message they have, and that's scary and kind of real.
Hmm. That
Like,
is that is.
why is that not more entertaining? Why? Because Gal Gadot steals a scene by being a strong female influence,
I
by
think
being interesting,
I think Gal
by
Gadot is a really good
looking
Wonder
strong, by
Woman.
looking powerful, and not having her cleavage.
Yeah, I think Wonder Woman's a really good. Uh, I don't know. I'm trying to put into words what I'm trying to think of, but like Gal Gadot is like a really good Wonder Woman that I couldn't really see anyone else in the role. Like now that I really think about it.
She brings a lot to Diana Prince as a character, which is needed.
Hmm.
Diana Prince is fun. Like Diana is so much fun as a character.
I
She's
think it's
so
so
strong
weird that we didn't
and
get a Wonder Woman movie until that movie came out. We got a black not,
we didn't get a
we
what
got a
when it
cat.
came out.
Yeah, we didn't get a Wonder Woman movie until that movie came out. I forget what year it came out. I think it was 2016. Yeah, that one when but yeah,
Was it 16?
I think it was 16. But don't quote me on that. I'm probably wrong.
2017.
Oh, it was 2017. Okay, but it's weird that we got a Catwoman movie before we got a Wonder Woman movie. I don't know. I feel like DC just
That
needs to
is
believe in
another
their
movie that
characters
didn't
more.
get the love
Yeah,
they should have.
I think that's another thing that that's another reason why DC movies don't really work is because they I feel like ever since they started these movies and like ever since Batman v Superman, they just have not believed in their characters. They just don't.
Yeah, they haven't had faith
I feel
in
like
the fan,
that's
what
like yeah,
fans are asking for.
like put faith in your characters. Like they like if you give them to a competent writer, even if they don't know a whole lot about the comic books, they're at least going to give us an enjoyable interpretation of what they perceive as that character. Most likely. Most likely. I don't know. That's kind of why I'm excited for James Gunn's Suicide Squad cuz like it's a bunch of like C-list characters that nobody really knows. So no one's going to judge them based on how accurate they are to the comics. Most of them at least. And James Gunn is just a really really good writer and director. Like he knows how to make these. He knows how to make you fall in love with these characters. That's how he made Guardians of the Galaxy work. Because like I guarantee you, if James Gunn did not make Guardians of the Galaxy and some other director made Guardians of the Galaxy, it would not be nearly as good as it is. 100%.
It's one of it's one of, if not my favorite, MCU. No, I Black Panther is so. I really thoroughly enjoyed that. Like from the first time I watched that, I watched it immediately again. I was like, that was really something else. Um, but Guardians of the Galaxy was really it was so enjoyable, especially the first time I watched it, just because it was very refreshing.
Hmm.
It was I agree. It had so much love for the characters and honesty to what the characters were that they didn't really need to focus so heavily on
Yeah, like cause like.
what they were. Like it was a prison break.
Hmm.
From the start, like it was a prison break. That was just really fun to
Yeah,
start. And when you make a fun superhero movie, your audience is bound to have fun.
yeah. Like I think
Like
that's why that's why Shazam was like perceived as good as it was. Because I just think it's like it's not necessarily a great superhero movie or probably not even a good superhero movie. It's just really fun. I feel like that's like
yeah,
that
a
could
really
that
good
really
refreshing
carries.
change of
Mhm.
pace.
That really carries a lot of superhero movies. Is like they don't have to necessarily be great. They can just be really fun and entertaining. And like yeah,
Right.
like I think that's what I don't know how many people are gonna get mad if I say this, but I think that's what the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies are. I don't think they're necessarily amazing,
Just
but they're really fun.
just fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that that's like the especially Spider-Man 3. Like if they didn't start like that, it definitely turned into that. Like they were just kind of having a lot of fun with the imagery. Like they
You can
really
tell
leaned
everybody had
into
fun with
we're
that
doing a
movie.
superhero movie by the time Spider-Man 3 came.
You could tell everyone had fun making that movie. It's so refreshing.
Right. And like it's interesting that it's in a different light now that time has passed
Yeah,
because it literally aged different, you know?
yeah. That the Sam
Uh,
Raimi Spider-Man
Peter
movies are
Parker,
like,
Toby Maguire walking down the street doing finger
mhm,
guns left a really big impact on a lot of people's brains
yeah,
that I didn't even think that they really knew was going to happen. They were just sort of feeling out a vibe,
mhm.
putting it on a film,
But
but it worked.
yeah, I will admit though, like Spider-Man 2 is definitely the best of that trilogy. It is actually kind of a pretty great movie. Like, I think it's really carried by Doc Ock in that movie, Doctor Octavius. Like, he's obviously
I was
not
gonna
like,
say I
he's
remember
not
that
obviously
movie.
like super comic accurate because like this was the early 2000s. Like, they didn't care. What were they gonna do? Complain on the internet?
Like Alfred Molina is so good.
Yeah, he's such a fun and unique, not unique, but he's like a fun take on that character. And you can tell that he just like had a blast playing him. And Sam Raimi's also just a good director in
Right. Like
general,
I mean
and he knows how to make movies.
that's like Danny DeVito's Penguin. Like you
Hmm.
just know that there was so much love character. There was so much fun. Oh my gosh, Tim Burton's Batman
Tim Burton's Batman was something
doesn't
else. It was good. I
it
liked Tim
shouldn't
Burton's
work
Batman.
in all the places that it should. Like they force so much strong imagery on you. And
Hmm.
man, if that movie hadn't happened, then Ben Affleck could never have done that.
If I had to sum up the early Spider-Man movie, not the well, just the early superhero movies in general at the time, like the early 2000s to like 2008, I think I would I think I would just describe it as Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Cuz that is such a
Yeah.
perfect image of what those movies were. Like that energy and that like fun and that kind of like the kind of comic booky not what's the word I'm looking for? Not cringe. The goofiness kind.
Cringe.
The cringe. No, it's like it's really goofy and fun.
That's tough.
I'm trying. It's not cringe.
Yeah.
The comic book silliness of it.
It's that like
I'm trying to think of the word,
yeah,
but I
that
can't think of
childish
it.
and
Yeah,
that wham pow that like
like Williams Defoe's Green Goblin literally looks like a Power Rangers villain. Like,
on a scale from Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin to bat nipples, how
I'd
would you describe like current superhero movie?
probably put him in the range
Thank
of
God followed
Spider-Man Dance.
yeah, it for sure followed Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Like it followed
He had
trusting
so many.
actors and
Yeah,
directors to do something different
he had so many good moments in that
and
movie. Willem Dafoe.
so many good moments. Like it's insane. Like you get Chris Evans getting a second chance to play a superhero and it being absolutely perfect the second.
Dude, his Captain America is literally perfect. That and like Tony Stark are like
And
the two
yeah, I
perfect
never
characters.
quite understood how perfect it was until I was watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Mhm.
and everything John Walker does made me physically so angry,
Mhm.
and it hit me that like Chris Evans is absolute
I think the
incredible.
moment I realized that his Captain America was perfect is when I was in theaters opening midnight for Avengers Endgame and I saw him lift the hammer. Like, I don't know why that specific
When
scene.
he lifted the
Mhm.
door, the cab door with
Mhm.
the star on it, that was foreshadowing for me that
Yeah.
like, all right, that's Captain America.
I really like the
And
scene in
like
the
from
first Captain
first
America movie.
Avenger,
Yeah.
I was here.
Yeah, the scene from the first Avengers when he just like jumps on top of the grenade. It is perfect.
Oh gosh, it's incredible. Skinny Steve Rogers is stupid adorable.
Dude, that is like weird how how weirdly good that like they made that out to be. Like, where they
I
CGI'd
think
his
his head
face.
looks
Yeah,
stupid too big.
yeah, it looks a little big, I'll admit, but
That's the only problem I have
like
with
it
it.
could have been nightmare fuel. Just seeing
It's
this
still like
tiny little
maybe
man.
fourth or fifth MCU movie.
Yeah,
Because like they
it's
had done Iron Man 2, and Thor at that point,
hmm
right?
yeah. They done they did Iron Man 1, Iron
And
Man
then they
2,
came
and
out with
Thor.
First Avenger and Thor Dark Iron Man 3.
So like, I don't know. It's kind of cute to look back in retrospect on the MCU right now. Like when you look at it from where it started and like where it is now, it's really cute.
It's it's really intriguing, you know. I mean, it
Yeah.
makes like the Disney Plus specials, like the Marvel Legends.
hmm
It makes it like the behind the scenes stuff. It makes it really interesting to observe because like we
I
didn't
think it's
really get a lot
really
of that
yeah.
before,
hmm
and like because like everybody really like I don't know if you've noticed this, but like the internet's really like blowing up like respect for John Favreau. It's like you should
Yeah.
have been respecting John Favreau.
Since the first Iron Man.
This man has known what to do in terms of nerd things for a long time.
I didn't even know he could like when he made the like when I heard he was doing the Mandalorian, I was like blown back. I was like, "What?
Everything was at peace.
Dude, the Mandalorian is like
So
one of the only shows I am super biased when I say this, but it's one of the only shows that I can say is probably perfect. Like I genuinely
I
struggle to find
thoroughly
a flaw.
enjoyed
Yeah.
every episode.
I genuinely like I cannot find flaws within those like not movies. I cannot find flaws within those shows. That show. Those episodes are all bangers. I think my least favorite one is probably season 2, episode 2, the one with the ice spiders. But even then, it's still like a fun adventure. Like,
It's just good Star Wars. It's refreshing to see good and also new Star Wars
mhm.
because
Finally, someone who isn't a Skywalker.
I agree that I probably don't want to get into that with Will, but
Mhm.
pretty much all the new Star Wars films have for me is pretty effects. It really hurts to see what they do to, like, especially like John Boyega.
Mhm.
Like, they really waste Finn
Dude,
terribly.
he should have been.
They waste his potential terribly. He's such an amazing character.
I
I
know.
love turned stormtrooper character. He's oh
He was such
oh
a perfect
Battlefront
idea
2
for a character.
storyline only works because they did that.
Yeah, they did it right. He was such a
And
perfect
they
idea for a
didn't do
character.
John Boyega's right. And it's
Mhm.
like, how did you mess this up?
This
John
was so
Boyega is
easy.
so talented.
This was so easy. How did you mess it up?
You robbed this man.
I don't know how they. I don't know how you mess up that badly with something so perfect. It's like intentionally
J.J.
getting
Abrams, like, I
like.
was even fine with Force Awakens being a New Hope over again.
Mhm.
Like, I would have been fine seeing the same trilogy. Like, I would have been happy with it, but I would have been fine
Yeah,
simply because it would have been more of the same, something that I at least was comfortable with and enjoyed. Because they really didn't do anything inventive with it. Nothing that, like, as a fan I'm happy with.
I love the original
And
idea they had for the Force Awakens, where it was like Kylo Ren
say
like
the
searching.
original plan.
Yeah, yeah, the original plan they had for that movie, where he was like, it was Kylo Ren, and he was like running around, and he was trying to find Force artifacts. Like it sounded like a really cool movie, but I understand why
Adam
they.
Driver, Daisy Ridley,
Mhm.
like, you have such a good cast and
Yeah,
you wasted all of these
I,
characters. Like,
I get why they played it safe for the first movie. Like I understand that, and I kind of respect it because like after the prequels, you need something good, something at least that's decent.
right, you need something safe.
So like I don't blame them going safe. I personally would have loved a new creative Star Wars story, but I'm fine with it being safe. I'm probably one of the only people in 2021 who still likes The Last Jedi, at least half of that movie. But I draw the
It's
line.
good.
Yeah, I draw the line at the not the Force Awakens. At Rise of Skywalker. I cannot. I don't know how you can. I've never been so mad, but also disappointed in a movie at the same time. I genuinely don't understand what went wrong. I mean, I do actually. I understand that people were bitching online. I understand that the whole production of that movie was a mess, and that people were so mad about the all those movies were so reactionary. The Force Awakens was a reaction to the prequels. The Last Jedi was a reaction to the criticism, the quote unquote criticisms of Force Awakens, and then the Rise of the Skywalker was, I guess, trying to play off of the criticisms of the Last Jedi. I guess it's so
I don't know.
it's so sad to watch that trilogy crash and burn.
Yeah, that's it's almost what we were talking about earlier about influence of, like, super, like, all the way from, like, Sam Raimi to, like, Justice League. Like, they just it becomes a weird cycle of, like, pleasing fans where creatives that are making these movies lose their integrity because of fans bullying them around.
Hmm.
And that's something like Will said earlier, where he was talking about how, like, these new superhero movies breed toxic fan bases. Like,
They just
when these fans get what they want, when they get to bully these studios providing something entertainment that
Mhm.
they've literally now helped create in big quotation marks. Like
Yeah.
it's it just breeds more of it.
The
It
only
really
time
offers incentive
the
for these
only
small
time people have ever bullied a
companies.
studio that actually was like a good thing was like when everyone bullied the Sonic movie. That was like the only time I've ever
I
agreed
was about to
with
say
them.
you were there for fixing Sonic's teeth, weren't you?
Yeah, dude.
They
I
were
know you're not
those
a
were
Sonic fan.
bad
I
the
know you're
first
not a
time. Like his
yeah.
eyes were the problem for
And
me, and it's like the new
dude,
movie. Like it's not bad, but like I I really wasn't paying that much attention to Sonic. I
yeah,
gotta be honest. Like Jim Carrey really
yeah.
carried it.
As like as unfortunately as a very big fan,
Yeah,
very big fan of that
it
franchise.
I
Unfortunately,
feel like I wouldn't have been taken back that very much if Sonic looked how he did originally.
yeah. Like what? Like
Like
watching
it
that
looks
original
better in
trailer
the
and not
cartoon.
having the hope for like a new cut. Like I honestly thought they were just not gonna care and they were just gonna release the movie how it was. I was like so
Right.
deeply saddened. I was like, I remember watching that in theater class and like sitting there in like the audience, and I was like, just just depressed and baffled that someone greenlit that. I don't know why people have this obsession with like making animated characters realistic nowadays. It's so weird. I don't know what's
Right.
wrong with them being animated. Like, they don't look bad as cartoons. Let them be cartoons.
Cartoons have a bad rep because anime's rep hasn't gotten any better over the years.
Oh yeah, anime fans are
Like
the worst.
Dragon Ball Z's gotten a better rep over the years, Naruto's gotten a better rep over the years, and subsequently a couple of other animes have gotten better reps over the years. People still look at
Every time I see a
cartoons as
kid
pretty
do like the little Naruto hand signs and do like a Naruto run down the hallway at school, I
they're
genuinely
cringier than all of the
I
anime.
genuinely lean closer and closer to understanding people who say anime is not an art form. But I don't know.
It's just a TV show. It's cartoon, man.
Guys, it's literally just Eastern cartoons, my guys. Calm down. She is I get she's 3,000 years old, but she looks 5. Calm down.
You're a creep.
I know. Like anime fans are kind of creepy, to be honest. I haven't watched many animes in
I
my time,
mean,
but I think I've only seen 3. But even then, most of them
only
like
three animes.
I've seen like 3 animes. I've seen the
I've
one
seen a lot more.
yeah, I've seen 3. Only because every time I see an
I
anime
don't
fan,
know.
I genuinely just don't want to watch anime. I don't want to associate with those kind of people, to be honest. Like,
Well, I mean, like that's the thing is that like an art form is an art form.
yeah,
Therefore, like if you don't like, would you stop listening to a band simply because the fan base was toxic?
yeah, I get that.
Did you say yeah?
Well, no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
Oh,
But I was saying, yeah, I
I
get
mean,
what you
like,
mean.
and that's the same thing for me. Is
Yeah,
like because this is these people's art form. Like because those same people, like the artists who do or who like did art for Dragon Ball Z, like those are the same people who made art for Chrono Trigger
hmm
and like who helped like Square Enix like become a massive gaming company. Like I love Chrono Trigger and I love the art style from it. I respect the art style from Dragon Ball Z. I just can't get into the fucking like, lore. It makes no sense to me and it's stupid and annoying and the dialogue isn't fun or entertaining. Like I just can't. I can't get into it.
yeah.
But like other animes, I'm super here for. Full Metal Alchemist was one of the first animes I ever
Listen,
watched, and it's like,
Full Metal
yeah,
Alchemist,
I'm a
I
pretty
was
white guy.
the
The first anime I watched was
yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist. But, like, I enjoyed it, and it got me to watch a bunch more. Like,
Full
it got
Metal
me to
Alchemist is so good.
religiously watch Death Note and One Piece. I watched One Punch Man and
Mhm.
didn't really enjoy it very much.
You don't
If
like
you
One
haven't
Punch Man?
watched JoJo's Bizarre
That's
Adventure, that's
crazy.
really really fun.
I watched. I think yeah.
Attack on Titans in its final season and is like amazing.
Uh, Full Metal Alchemist was the first anime I've seen. Was the first anime I watched. If you don't count like
So
Pokemon, if you don't count Pokemon, I don't count Pokemon, but like,
it's okay.
cause like,
That's like counting Avatar as an anime. You
yeah,
can, but
but like, would you?
Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, they're kids' cartoons.
Yeah, but like, Full Metal Alchemist was like the first
And
anime I
anime is a
watched, and
little
that is
different.
a really good show.
It's like,
That is so good.
do you have HBO Max?
I do actually.
You gotta watch Princess Mononoke.
What's it about?
That's a old Studio Ghibli movie, and
Okay.
it's amazing.
Surprisingly enough, I've heard so much about Studio Ghibli, but I actually have not seen their movies, and I don't know how much I'm gonna get murdered over that.
Um,
But
Kiki's Delivery Service is a classic. They just have a lot of classics. They've done stuff for years, and they're the OGs. Like
I know.
they
I should
really
probably watch
made
Journey to
anime
the
into
West.
art, art
Yeah,
into anime, made them synonymous.
but yeah, I'm pretty sure if I watch them, I would enjoy them. But like, I feel like it's so weird to say it, but like, anime fans just they make me not want to watch anime.
I I understand that. I don't have to talk about it with other people, you
Yeah,
know,
I get that.
like just because I don't know. I mean, I guess I lean really heavily into that music comparison
Yeah,
because like I just I'm gonna like what I like.
yeah. I feel like music though is like
People
on
make
another
art,
level.
people make things in this world to get a reaction out of other people.
Hmm.
And if I'm a, to receive that reaction, give that reaction, then it's still interesting to me to dissect or analyze something put out to the world. If
Hmm.
I put something to the world, it would be interesting
Yeah,
me to have somebody else analyze.
yeah. I think it'd be a really cool time to bring up some questions we got from people online.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I'm gonna pull them up real quick. I'm not gonna restate the ones that we've already answered. Like I know there's some that are like, what did you guys think about the Justice League movie? When I said we are gonna talk about the Justice League movie, like what? Here's one from Tommy Lou. He says, "What did you guys think about that new Joker movie?" And
The
I really loved that. I really love Joker. I really love that movie.
Joaquin Phoenix brings something interesting to that role.
Hmm. I think he was really perfect for that role.
It's as a movie, it's pretty predictable.
Yeah,
From its
I'm not gonna lie.
influences,
Like
like I really
yeah,
feel like it's special because of how pretty it is, what
hmm
they do,
I,
how it handles like old movie tropes, how it handles its influences, but stands alone.
I don't think
But
necessarily being a predictable movie is even like a bad thing.
exactly,
Like just
it
because you
eases
know where something is gonna go doesn't mean you know how it's gonna get there. And I think it's the classic phrase of like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And like the journey of like,
right, and that dance with reality and
yeah,
insanity done well.
it's it's so that movie was so good and deserved everything that it got, except for everyone freaking out about it
Hmm.
when everyone was like, "Oh no, this is gonna inspire violence." Like what?
That's
That was so. I don't know.
that's like people saying that like Saw or Doom inspires school shooting or
Yeah,
mass murderers. Like,
or like it gives me very much
no,
of pop music is gonna destroy the West kind of vibes that like were going on in the '90s. Like I don't know.
like
I
the human psyche is not so fragile and
like
it's not so easily
and I
influenced
and
like
I don't
that.
understand the point of view where people are like, but my kids could watch this and they would like get corrupted. Like I personally think a
Teach
kids,
your kids better.
yeah, teach your kids better, one, and two, like you shouldn't let your kid watch the Joker unless they're like I honestly would probably say I'd say like 16. I get that he's like a comic book villain and he fights a man who dresses up like a bat, but like
If
there's a
if a
rating
kid's not
system.
mature enough to understand the difference between
Hmm.
this character
In reality.
blowing a TV host brains out and what is acceptable reality, then you need to take a step back and look at your parent and
Hmm.
talk with your child and get that child help just because you have a responsibility
I don't know.
to that child.
This whole movement
Like
of like
you
blaming.
can't just blame what people create into
Mhm.
this world because this world isn't going to be wonderful and nice to your child in every aspect. Like
This whole weird like thing that's been going on since like 2000, like the early 2000s, where it's like we want to blame movies, video games, music, and anything like as general art. We want to blame art for like corrupting the youth and turning them into shooters or murderers or sociopaths. Like I don't know. I feel like it's an easy scapegoat that people want to use to take the blame away from themselves. And I think it's
yeah,
just such a
and that's
massive
all it really is a
disrespect. Yeah.
scapegoat. Like
I think it's such a massive
and
disrespect to the artists who work so fucking hard to get their views and creative outlets out only for some random person to go, but what if this corrupts someone and turns them into a school shooter? Like I don't know. You're supposed to push the boundaries of what's acceptable. That's literally what sells art. I wouldn't say it's the sole reason why art's success, but it's a factor of why art is successful.
right, I mean art brings out extremes of society
Hmm.
and that's part of that's a reason why art is sought after and why it's so valuable is why like Renaissance art, like art from the Black Plague, everyone being skeletons in the street, like that's important and monumental to history and society because that's the
Could you
reality that people saw when they walked outside. It was
could you
difficult to
yeah
deal with, and the only way for these people to make any sense of it was to draw it, and the drawing didn't make any sense. Like
could you imagine how
it's
boring all art
nightmarish.
would be if like could you imagine how boring all art would be if it was all acceptable for everyone? The fact that art isn't acceptable to everyone is what makes it beautiful. Like that not everyone's going to like it,
Mm.
not everyone's going to appreciate it. I don't know.
The presence of opinions gives art depth.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Like
I personally
and
just
like
whenever I
when
see that
poetry is
opinion,
written,
yeah,
there's
whenever I
so
see
many
somebody
different
complaining,
thoughts going through somebody's and when somebody's
yeah,
reading poetry, 100 different thoughts are going through their mind. And that's special and it's supposed to be cherished.
yeah, but yeah. To answer the question, we really like the Joker movie. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
thought
just yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix did an excellent job. I thought that it was I thought the dance between
mhm.
reality I'm a little upset that it's not canonically in the DCEU because
I
I
kind
feel
of
like
like that
that's
it's
all they're
not.
going to be doing.
I think it's really cool that it's not.
Just
That's kind of like its
throw
own
side
standalone.
stories that
Yeah,
they're not really committed to. They're scared of doing anything bigger.
yeah. I kind of like that it's not connected. To
But
be
it's
honest, I think it's really cool as like its own
exactly.
standalone. I don't know.
So I
As much
mean,
as I like when things are connected, I'm getting so tired of everything wanting to be its own cinematic universe.
mm,
But like, so
I
like,
can feel that.
yeah,
Like, and
yeah,
it's refreshing to know that it's not connected because I can sit down and watch the Joker at any time.
hmm,
I mean, I don't know why I would want to watch it at any time. Very, very visceral, but
hmm, and like,
I can sit down and watch that and know that I don't need to be worried about remembering what happened before it or what's going to happen after it, like I
yeah,
do with watching like Captain Marvel, knowing that like it's technically set long before a lot of the Marvel movies, but is like
hmm.
right before Endgame. Like, people have Disney Plus has different ways to watch the Marvel movie, and I think that that's a little bit silly,
Yeah.
and it's ambitious and fun for sure, but it makes a tough time for the audience. That's it's pandering a little bit, like the CW shows. Um,
Hmm.
there wasn't a lot of need for them to be so codependent on each other, but then because of that codependency, there was a need to kill Oliver Queen's fun side and turn him into Bruce.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing that we don't have to deal with that with the Joker,
Hmm.
or hopefully Matt Reeves, the Batman.
I'm just so
They get
excited for that movie.
something of their own that's a little bit
It's so
less
cool that
stressful.
he's gonna be like. I think it's really interesting that we've never had like a solely detective focused Batman movie before, and like this is
Right,
now gonna
yeah.
be it.
I'm so excited to see this. Like, the
Like
world's
it's
greatest
yeah,
detective. That's what he deserves to
like
be.
literally. And our next question comes from Anani Mouse 709, and she says, do you see a chance that the DC will continue working with the Snyderverse? And should they? And me personally, if I had to
I
answer this,
think
yeah,
that.
if I had to answer those two
Sorry, go ahead.
questions really quickly, uh, like in a short, brief synopsis, I don't think they're going to continue the Snyderverse, and I kind of don't want to see the Snyderverse. But what do you think?
I would love to see the Snyderverse, but I would have loved to have seen it, like I said, the way it was intended to be shown to us,
Yeah,
and otherwise, I'm good not seeing.
I would
But
have.
I'm worried that they're going to pander to the audience.
Yeah,
Say sure. Like, I'm worried that Flashpoint's going to be like, so the 2017 Justice League is canon and the Snyder Cut is canon. It's like this. Like, if you watched Matt Pat's video, Film
yeah, I
Video
saw that
Escape,
one,
you know,
and I
and
do
I
think
think
I'm
that
gonna. I
that's.
do think we're gonna see that kind of in some way.
I hope not. I hope
As
not.
as
It's
much as I
we
don't
don't
like
need
admitting
that.
that Matt Pat might be right, he might be right.
I want them to keep the Snyder Cut as canon, but I don't necessarily like I so like you know how like the Arkhamverse takes aspects from massive comic book storylines like
Yeah,
Barbara is paralyzed because of Killing Joke happening in this universe.
yeah,
It I you can do that. You can take things that you've decided to make canon and you can find your place in a niche universe. That's why comics have been interesting. And no, you're going to upset fans like that. You're not going to please everybody like that, but you're going to make a solid film that has a good storyline, solid characters, good writing. You're going to
hmm
have a good story. Like, I mean, that's how Flashpoint is made, and that's one of the most popular DC storylines.
I really, I really wish we were in a timeline, or if I heard the Flashpoint movie was coming out, I'd be like super excited for it. But when I heard the Flashpoint movie was coming out, I'm just super worried about it because the Flashpoint comic
I'm
is
worried about
genuinely really good.
what that entails
Yeah,
for
like the
the rest
original
of the DC
Flashpoint
universe.
comic is stupid good, and
Hmm.
I just don't know if DC has or if they know or even want to translate that well into the big screen. I don't even know if Flashpoint could be translated into a single movie.
Did you watch the animated Flashpoint Paradox?
I've seen clips from that movie. I have not seen the entirety of that movie,
It's
but it looks pretty
fine.
good.
Um,
Like
they
most of
do
the you go.
they do a lot with um what the concept of Flashpoint is, but they don't do a lot with the characters that involve. Like Michael B. Jordan is cast as Cyborg. He gets lines that are just barely one-liners. They're
Hmm.
not like the writing just isn't great, and that's the biggest downfall I mean, I think you said that. I think with
Yeah,
just the DCEU that like writing is a massive downfall with these movies. It's like, yeah, they could definitely screw up Flashpoint. They could definitely screw up all of the DCEU by trying to either abandon the Snyderverse or keep with the Snyderverse, and for sure they would mess it up by not making decisions.
yeah. I think the only movie right now that I'm trying to think about what movies they have coming on the way that I'm like super excited to see besides the Batman and Suicide Squad. Wait, is there a Cyborg movie coming out? I don't think there is. I don't think that's in plans. But
I didn't. I don't think so.
I don't know how much of a hot take this is, but if if Zack Snyder got to make his own Cyborg movie with Ray Fisher, I'd be so excited for that movie. Just I don't know,
I
because
thoroughly enjoyed Cyborg. Like
Cyborg
I
was like
really
the best
enjoyed
character in
everything.
Justice
Okay,
League.
so I rewatched Batman v Superman, and
Hmm.
that beginning scene where they're with the football broadcast, like
Yeah,
I, it makes me really happy to like the world building there is really really awesome for them to be like talking about
I think that's an underrated point.
GCU's football
Yeah,
team, and like
I think that's kind
that's
of an underrated point. Is
Tombstone could
like,
be on that field or like in a hospital bed. Like,
yeah, Zack Snyder is pretty good at world building. You may not like the world building he does, but he's pretty good at it. But
right,
I
like the world building is so
genuinely,
solid.
mhm,
He
I
may not be building a universe that you're necessarily happy to look at. Like, yeah, Jason Todd's dead. But, like, you missed when the Joker killed him. You've missed a lot. And people got really, really upset about that. Like, the placement of his universe was really, really upsetting to so many people. And for me, I wasn't mad at it. I was more concerned about the longevity of it all.
yeah,
And
because that's
because,
like a
like, they
lot
were
of good
leaning
stories
so
just
hard
cut.
on Batman, and they had the oldest Batman.
Hmm. I mean, they cut a
That's
lot of good,
tough.
interesting stories. I think that was the only reason I would be mad, but I can't bring myself to be mad at it. To be honest with you,
Yeah, they left. They really left a lot on the cutting floor.
I it is surprising how good Cyborg is in the Zack Snyder cut. I genuinely was not expecting that at
Oh
all.
yeah,
It kind of because he just didn't. I don't know the original Justice League. I know Ray Fisher fucking hated that movie. Like he genuinely hated being on the set.
I
Hated that
bet.
movie in general. But I know that he loves this new Zack Snyder movie. Not just because I've seen him love it on social media, but because he genuinely seems to love his character now and like love what he's doing. Like I also think he's the best character in that movie.
Right. Did you
Do I what?
hear about what happened with him saying "boo"?
Yeah, I did hear about that. Where he was like he didn't want to say it because he would thought it was weird that he was the only one with the catchphrase because he's the only not minority, he's the only black guy in that film. And I understand his point of
The
view.
only black superhero with the catchphrase, like that doesn't make any fucking sense. And then for him to be like, say the word, like the fucking weird ass Shakespeare shit, like fuck
Yeah,
you, you fucking creep. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like
yeah.
say that so like densely, but like,
But like
oh,
it's understandable. It's just that one Bart
so
meme where it's
upsetting.
like say the line Bart, booyah, yay.
Maybe don't. Maybe like you can bite me.
Like I don't know. It's not even when I think of Cyborg, it's not even like
Respect,
one of the
Dad.
first things I think of. Is this stupid catchphrase? Like it's a catchphrase. Like
It's
a
a catchphrase. Like it's a live action movie in a fucking in a universe that's supposed to be a little bit more grounded. Like, so he doesn't have a catchphrase this time. It's still Cyborg, and he's Ray Fisher's excellent.
yeah. The only thing I would want out of the next, if they ever made another Cyborg movie with Ray Fisher and Zack Snyder as the director, is for the love of God, please make sure that he doesn't look like he jumped straight out of fucking Crash Bandicoot. I love him, but the
Oh
CGI
my
looks so
gosh.
bad. He looks like he literally jumped out of Crash Bandicoot. Like halfway through the movie, I
You
expect.
and Will really don't like the way he looks, huh?
I really don't. He really looks really weird.
I really think he looks fine.
I think,
Like I
yeah.
understand the argument of like the metal encasing his head should be closer to his skin level, but
Mhm.
also like
I think if they made it more
I don't think
practical,
that
it'd look better.
and
But
like more practical. Like I don't understand like
I think if they made it, because like it's entirely CGI, and you can tell it's CGI.
yeah,
It's the same thing I
they
have with
could have
these.
given him a
Mhm.
suit.
Yeah, I feel like there's this like it didn't even have to be a full suit. It could have been like a partial suit, kind of like the first Iron Man. But the best example I can have is comparing it to weirdly enough, I don't know if you're gonna understand it when I first say it. Is comparing it to Jurassic Park, where they had the first movie at least had like full on animatronics and CGI combined together to make it look fucking astounding. Like that movie is still really good looking. And then you jump to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and it all doesn't look as good because it's all CGI. And there was nothing
Right.
like not inherently that.
The new Hobbit trilogy
Mhm.
compared to the first Lord of the Rings trilogy, like Peter Jackson did so well with the costumes for the first trilogy that like all of the CG extras like you of course you notice those scenes but they looked so good because they were blended with real people in makeup
Yeah,
and costumes and then jumping to like an entire CG villain like the ogre or the goblin king in the Hobbit trilogy, like he
yeah.
looks terrible. He looks absolutely abysmal. Bjorn looks abysmal. Like for no reason does he look bad. Like you've given us good CGI in the first trilogy,
Hmm.
and you didn't provide that with the second trilogy. I don't understand why you did more with less.
Yeah. And not that like using just CGI is like inherently a bad thing, because like Infinity War and Endgame Thanos look fucking amazing. But I feel like in this circumstance with Cyborg being made, well, as him being a cyborg, it would look a lot more natural and better if he had some bit of costuming on him that was real and tangible. It's kind of how I feel about the new Spider-Man movies when they make a CGI suit over him. It kind of looks weird, and I don't really like it all that much. Like the practical suit looks fine. Why don't you just let
Mm,
him wear the practical suit? I get like for some scenes where he's like doing like crazy shit, like the CGI it, like sure, but like I think most scenes he can just wear the regular costume and not have the CGI over him.
it's like almost the difference in like when Ben Affleck had to do like the muscle pads for Daredevil versus like
Yeah.
they had to remove muscle pads for the Batman suit because of how swole this man was.
Oh yeah.
I
That is
loved that. Like
Ben
it made me
Affleck got
so
so
happy. I was like,
swole.
this man's too thick.
That man is swole. That man could
Just the
probably,
workout scene
yeah.
in like in Batman v Superman is just it's so good. Like I don't know why it
Ben Affleck could probably pop me like a pimple if he wanted to. That's how muscular that man is.
like I'm a really big sucker for the Rocky movies and like
Hmm.
Creed and Creed 2. Like absolutely love those movies. Like the adrenaline that like those movies provide are is really really something. Uh and I get that same feeling from that scene. I'm like, oh, Ben Affleck working like doing like just with all like the chains and stuff
Oh
in
yeah,
the Batcave.
and I think he
It's
had a
so
tire
so
in there as
smooth.
well. It's just I don't know. That man is so buff. That is like peak human. That and like The Rock. The Rock is like peak human. The Rock is just crazy. I genuinely don't even think he's real. I think he's like fake. I think he's an alien. No man can be that muscular, no matter how chiseled their jaw is.
I
But
used to think that about Arnold.
oh yeah,
It's like
but Arnold takes drugs,
that
so
man had to have done steroids, and then like
like even if he didn't admit it, like we know.
I really I feel like I'm on the Arnold
Okay,
train of like
here's a crazy idea
he
though.
doesn't look like he's done like now like especially now like as old as he's gotten his
Hmm.
body doesn't look like he's took enhancers.
Yeah, he
Like he
probably
just looks
yeah
old.
yeah he probably took like a little bit, but like most of that is probably like his own work, which is kind of scary.
Right. I mean like gosh, the sheer willpower that goes in like for some of these people is
Isn't
absolutely
I couldn't do it,
incredible.
but it is amazing. But
Are there any more questions?
oh yeah, there's one more question that I wanted to touch upon. This one was sent in by my sister. She said, let me scroll down to it. She said, talk about how weird Robert Pattinson is. And by that, I just want to talk about how much of big dick
I'm
energy this man
excited for
has.
Battinson.
Yeah. This man, when he was like, you know what? If you guys keep harassing us about the movie, I'm going to make this bad and I'm going to watch you all cry. That is like the most big,
I would just
gigantic, monkey schlong energy I've ever seen in my life, and I love it.
just the amount of testosterone pumping through this man.
This man literally said, "I will make this bad for you, and I will watch you cry, and I will enjoy it." And I give him mad
Get
respect
off
for it.
my back.
Yeah,
I just
that is the
I
best
have a
way to
lot
deal
of
with that kind
respect
of
for
yeah.
Robert Pattinson.
Like yeah, say what you want about the Twilight
The
movies.
Twilight movies,
Yeah,
the
like say what you
best
want.
part of the worst, the best part of a bad movie.
Like yeah,
It's
obviously
that man.
nobody in their reasonable, mentally stable mind would argue with you that the Twilight movies are good. But if you can't admit that Robert Pattinson is a genuinely good actor, you might also want to join those people in a mental asylum. But I don't know.
Mental asylum.
In Arkham Asylum. But yeah, Robert Pattinson is going to be a good Batman. I think I can say that confidently right now. Just only seeing the first trailer, he's going to be a good Batman.
I feel like I'm excited for his Bruce Wayne too.
I'm excited for his Bruce Wayne as well. Like
Like because I'm oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this movie. I really want them to do like because I'm worried that it's gonna not focus a lot on him.
hmm
Like they're gonna focus very much on the rogues gallery that they're dealing with. I really hope that they don't skimp on the time of this movie. Like if this movie ends up being anything like
yeah,
under an hour and 45,
I think it's
I
yeah.
already know it's gonna be bad.
I think the main villains we're probably going to see in that movie. We already know it's going to be the Riddler is going to be like the main villain. But
Right.
I
We've
think I'm
seen the Riddler, we've seen the Penguin, we've seen
Catwoman.
Catwoman,
But
we've
I genuinely believe that the Court of Owls are going to be in that movie.
that would be fun to see.
I I still
But
genuinely believe
it would
that.
be really ambitious.
It's going to be ambitious, yeah. I think this Batman movie is going to be extremely ambitious. And whether
Do
they
you
pull it off or
think
not,
that they are trying to set it up for several Pattinson movies?
I think they are.
I hope so. I think if it's good,
I'd love to see
then
that. I
if I want to see more Pattinson, I'm gonna be I'm gonna cry if I don't get to see more
dude, I'm going to love to see him
because
more.
I would rather get more movies. I would rather like be promised immediately that like he signed up for like two or three
Hmm.
and then be disappointed with his performance because like honestly when I first watched Batman Begins I was a little disappointed with Christian Bale, and then by the time Dark Knight rolled around I was a
Yeah,
lot more thoroughly impressed, and then now in hindsight Batman Begins is my favorite of the Dark Knight trilogy.
yeah, because like I really hope they don't just like immediately give up if they get negative attention. That's always so depressing to see
Right.
because you know they can bounce back from it. They just don't want to try. And I
Exactly.
also feel like it's like,
And
yeah.
you can bounce back from a negative review. Like people were not happy with Jared Leto's Joker, like
Hmm.
all the way around. Like, and most of their complaints were cosmetic. And so, what did Snyder do? He said, "I was happy with his Joker, so I'm gonna bring him back, and I'm gonna retcon the way he looks." And people were happy with it. Lo and
It's
behold.
like how Thor was in the MCU because like before Thor Ragnarok, nobody's saying that Thor is their favorite Marvel character. Oh, my cat. Nobody's saying Thor is their favorite character, but like they took that criticism and then they made him better out of it. I think they set it up in Age of Ultron and then they carried
Yes,
it
a
through in
lot better.
Ragnarok. But like, yeah, they took the criticism
What
and they took
Taika
what was
Waititi
yeah
did
yeah
with Thor Ragnarok
they took what wasn't
was
working and they made it work. And
right,
they
exactly.
didn't
Like
just like
it made me really mad the first time I watched it. I literally stopped watching it. Like, uh, I didn't like the music choice. I didn't like how colorful it was. I didn't like. I felt like Gladiator Hulk wasn't done as well as it should be. And then
mhm,
I watched it again because I like as much as I didn't like it, I was more intrigued with
yeah.
what I had seen. It stuck with me in a way that I couldn't describe, and I had to watch it again to find out why.
Hmm.
And after that, I realized that it was one of my favorites of the MCU.
Yeah,
That Taika Waititi was one of my favorite directors, and
I'm
like not
super.
long after that, Will showed me Jojo Rabbit,
Mhm.
and I I
Jojo Rabbit is a
that
good
dude
movie. I'm also excited for his new Star
Taika
Wars
Waititi.
movie that he's going to be making. Like you, I think it's really cool that like now we can get movies that are like just hype based on the director now. Because
Mm,
no one was interested in seeing the new
absolutely.
yeah, no one was interested in seeing the new Suicide Squad until they said James Gunn was directing it. Like, I don't know.
It's interesting because like these superhero movies have spawned these kinds of names like this, and
Yeah.
the opportunity for names like this to get big again
Mhm.
because like the following is so big, and that's why um like directors in the past have gotten so big, like Tarantino and
Mhm.
like Kubrick and Spielberg, like they were ambitious and found followings,
Yeah.
and that's that it. Gosh, it's really just amazing to see that happen
Yeah.
in front of our eyes.
It is
To
so
be a
cool.
part of that like fan base that influences that even
Yeah, the modern superhero movie landscape is just kind of really cool to be into, like to be here to experience. Even if we
I
have to
agree.
suffer through Suicide Squad, the original one. But like,
Gosh, when I
you win
called
some, you
you
lose some.
that morning saying like for your opinion on Infinity War and Endgame,
Hmm.
like I was so happy because for one, thank you for answering the phone. It was so late in the morning,
I know it's like
but
3 a.m. or something, and I was very concerned. I think I was more scared than anything. I was like, oh my god.
you
Oh,
said you were like, I thought something was wrong, and I was like, Endgame was a better movie going experience, but Infinity War was a better movie, correct? And you were like, oh yeah, for sure. It's like
dude, like honestly, if
everything's
you
fine
like
then.
people who call me in the morning, like 3 a.m. for something like that, I will answer my phone immediately. Like, hell yeah, I'm gonna sit down and talk to you at 3 a.m. in the morning about it because Avengers Endgame is a better experience, movie going experience, but Infinity War is a better movie, and that's kind of just objectively fact. And anyone who disagrees is just wrong. Objectively
Right. Like
speaking.
it's simple maths. Like
Yeah.
it
I feel like you could prove it scientifically, mathematically even.
will put electrodes to your brain to measure how you enjoy these movies.
I want that. I want that as a research done. I want them to stop doing research on COVID and start researching my brain patterns on movies. It'll be it'll be the day.
I don't need sleep. I need answers.
But I think this is a really good episode. I think we're gonna end it right here. But thank you again, David,
All
for
right.
joining me. And I know William's not here because his
Thank you for
internet went
having
out.
me.
Yeah, I know William's internet went out, but thank you, William. It's very nice to have both of you guys here to talk about this kind of stuff. It was really fun, and I really love doing
It was a
this.
lot of fun.
Yeah, and also I didn't mention at the beginning of the episode, but William did the thumbnail art for this, so show him some love, please. It's really hot. It's really amazing. Not as hot as him or David, but it's really hot. But yeah, that being said, thank you guys,
Absolutely not.
and I hope we get to do this again.